Hello, welcome to the Critical Obsession podcast. My name is Mirella,
And I'm Zoe.
and today we're going to watch and talk about episode 10 of Not Me. For a moment there, I was like, how are we called? What is this?
Yeah.
What am I doing right now?
Where have we been? Yeah, I know, right? Well, it's been a little while.
Yeah, life is kicking
Yeah,
our butts. Work, more
that's
exactly.
right. Yeah, we've had a lot on. Episode 10. I have so many mixed feelings about this because, as we said, it's been like forever. But
Mhm.
also, um, I'm like, so I'm like, it's really funny because even though I've been tired and I've been like, oh, I don't want to, but I do. Like, I miss doing this with you, so I missed you, you know?
Me
And,
too.
yeah. So it's a weird conflict of emotions because, like, we talk about it sometimes, or, you know, like we want to, and then we're like, one of us is busy or we're tired or whatever. And it's funny because, like, when you're busy and tired, and I'm like, oh, we should do something, and you're like, I can't. I'm like, oh, thank God. And I'm sure you have a similar sort of feeling. But it's so funny because, like, but that doesn't mean that I don't, like, I haven't wanted to do it because I did. It's just like everything else has been so much, you know?
I know.
And then, of course, and then I'm excited to do episode 10, but I'm also, like, afraid of episode 10 of Not Me. So I'm like, have I grown enough to, like, get through this without any gross, ugly crying that hopefully you won't actually hear in my voice if it happens?
Well, I am very curious. I never cried at episode 10. I usually cry at episode 11. So I'm
Yeah.
curious to
Oh,
have this conversation with you and experience episode 10 and
yeah.
see
I mean,
the way you perceive it.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because I remember, like, I think, you know, I've said this, I vaguely remember saying this in
Mhm.
past episodes of the podcast for this one, that, you know, like, right up until this episode, I was in team, he knows something, like, you know what I mean? Like, I really thought Sean knew something. And so when you have that, like, realization, like when I had that realization, it was so traumatizing
Mhm.
at the time because I was like, oh my God, no, like it just clicked in that he was not gonna know. I knew Black was gonna be a dick. Like it was like there were all these feelings that were like
Mhm.
bubbling before I'd even watched it. So I think that was like I had kind of predisposed myself to be traumatized even like harder by the whole thing. But it's like it's funny, it's like the I think in the last episode where we first meet Black conscious
Mhm.
and he basically strips White of everything including the phone and like just everything and you know tells him to stay away and all that. I was starting like at that moment like I there was you know like there was a lump built like a rock building in my stomach in the pit of my stomach and I was just like what if he doesn't know anything? This is going to be really bad. And I remember my mum and I spent like the week between episode 9 and episode 10 like having so many conversations
Mhm.
and she was like basically talking me down off a ledge. She's like, it'll be alright. And I'm like, no, it won't.
Just being kind.
That's
Just
right.
trying
And
to
then it
calm
was
you
really
down.
yeah, and then it was really funny because I remember we watched episode 10 and I was super traumatized and she like I looked over at her and she wasn't looking at the screen for some of it and I said something to her about it after and she goes, oh, I couldn't watch it. She goes, she said to me it was so upsetting. She's like, it was bad. She said so funny. She's like, it was bad enough listening to it. She goes, even without like knowing what they were saying, like I knew what was kind of being said.
Mhm.
And she's like, it was just really upsetting. And she's like, but don't worry, it'll be fixed by next week. And then, of course, episode 11 happened, and I was like, he needs to know, like, when is this going to be over? Because I was so afraid they were going to do, like, this 3-episode arc of, like, torture before we had
Mhm.
any, like, resolution to it. I
For
mean,
me,
obviously,
yeah.
yeah, I should have trusted Pinucci better than that. But, like, you know, I was a newbie to Pinucci. So, but yeah, and for
Mhm.
you?
Oh, for me, I was so curious to see the way Black interacts with everyone. He made a great appearance at the end of episode 9. I enjoyed the way they handled it, and it's like they build up for so much for this moment. And of course, that had to happen. I was expecting it. I was like, yes, the moment by the bridge was like something that I've been waiting for since White started pretending to be black. Of course, that was going to happen, especially considering the way they kept describing Black. Like, he was such a presence up until the moment he appeared. So it felt very organic the way he acted and reacted to knowing that his brother is, you know,
Yeah.
mingling
I mean,
with
right,
Sean.
it wasn't out of character at all. And it's funny because that you say all of that, because I agree, like,
Mm-hmm.
wholeheartedly. If he had acted any differently, then it would have been weird.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, as I said, my trauma lies in the fact that I had more faith in Sean.
No, for
I
me, I was
had
like, that was perfect because you see his evolution, like from being this person who does not trust anyone, or rather that he does not trust that he needs to cling to life and cling to something, and that he has something to
live for.
really fight for besides this revenge that he was obsessed with. And then to see him basically crawl like that. I mean, I love it when at first characters are very sure of themselves and maybe violent or so. I don't like it, but I love it when then they are put into a position where they behave completely differently. And so to see him, I know it's fucked up, but to see him being beaten and just broken
Oh,
and not
yeah,
respond and cling and then just beg, I was just like, yes, yes, this
yeah,
is
he's
perfect.
so humbled in this scene.
Yes,
Like, in that scene, he's so humbled,
I
and you
liked, I
see
loved seeing
how
him
much,
broken
yeah,
like
and you
this.
see how much like he needs this. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like, it's not. It's like one of those things, like, when there's that discrepancy between when you want something or when you care about something, but and then when you need it. Do you know what I mean? Because, like,
Mm-hmm.
you can love another person, um and like, my main sort of, I guess, serious, most long-term relationship that I ever had, I loved him and I liked spending time together with him, and we were good together and all that, but, like, I also didn't need to. I don't know, I didn't need him at that point
Mm-hmm.
in my life. Do you know what I mean? Like, that sounds really weird, I guess. But, like, we could go a whole week without seeing each other. Like, our friends thought we were really weird, and I found out later on that it was more a me thing and not so much a him thing. Like, he would have loved to have, like, seen me every minute of every day, but he was older than me. I wasn't in the same position. You know what I mean? Like, I was really comfortable just seeing each other when we saw each other. Like, that's where I was at that point in time. But that didn't mean I didn't love him any less than perhaps he loved me or whatever. It's just I didn't need him in the same way. And I feel like that's a really interesting distinction, because we know they have these, like, really intense feelings for each other, given the
Mm-hmm.
circumstances, given, everything.
Maybe it's about
And
expectations. Maybe it's about having expectations. When then at some
mm,
point you decide that this is what you want, and then you start expecting the person that you trust to deliver on something, to provide you with
mm.
care and love and just support, or like you start you open yourself up to become dependent on them.
Mm. Yeah, and it's a natural progression.
Mm-hmm.
I think, depending on, like, the relationship you might and also I feel like it depends on the person too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, some people obviously are more needy than others, and I don't mean that in a negative way at all.
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely way more needy as I get older. Like, I'm, like, starved for affection. And so, like, if someone hugs me, I'm like they're like ready to move away after a second. I'm like, just a little bit longer. But, like, it's such an interesting concept for Sean's characters, because we know, like, how broken he was before this. Like, we know that, like you said, this was the his revenge was, like, all he cared about. It was his only point of existence. It was what kept him going. It was like that was what he needed. That's why whenever anything threatened it, he, like, would freak out the way he did, and stuff like that, and to the point where he was willing to sacrifice his moral, which is funny because he's so angry at his father for pretending to be a good person and then being a bad and then, supposedly being a bad person, and yet he puts himself in these positions where he's willing to sacrifice his morality to, punish the bad guy, even though that's like part of what he hates about like what happened with his dad, because he's not a bad guy himself, right? Like, we know he's not. It bothers him to do these things, but he feels like the ends justify the means, or like whatever. And then White has problems with that, because White's like, it's not necessary, we can do it a different way, or like whatever. And so like that's all he has. So then like when you introduce White to him and he finally lets him in and everything, this like it's like he can't let go of that, because if he lets go of that, then all he's got is the hate, all he's got is the loss, he's alone. Like, there's just so much intrinsically tied to it that
I
it's,
feel
yeah,
like
it's so
it's a little bit about pride and dignity. Like
mm,
when you're trying to exert revenge, or when you're trying to prove something to the world, it's motivated by the sense of pride and your dignity. But here with
mm.
White, he kind of lets go of all that, and
Oh yeah,
all that
he is,
keeps him
yeah,
there in that moment is his love and
yeah.
desperation. So that is a delicious moment. So let's go watch part 1 and see what we have to say about part 1.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's go. So part 1, we
Mm-hmm.
got ourselves into a speak of a devil kind of situation there with Todd.
It was so funny because I had forgotten all about Todd.
Me too. I was like,
Did-
what's this guy's name? I was like, what? And they were very helpful. They told us, oh, Todd is calling. I was like,
Look,
yay.
I didn't get Todd's name. I just forgot about him as a character. I was just like, and then I was like, oh, Todd and Black, of course, because I'm so excited for that.
Obviously.
Yeah, because all of my weird, lovely thoughts and whatever. Um,
I like how
but like,
White got so good at lying. Like he was
oh,
so smooth.
oh,
I'll
he
come to
is.
you. I'm in the apartment. What if he comes here? Blah blah blah. And then Black's comes with I'll see you tomorrow at your place, which was so suspicious. Like, why would you
Yeah,
say
yeah.
that? Why like, no, let's not wait for Black. Like, who cares about Black? Let's just talk tomorrow. He will not appear. Will he? Won't he? Who cares? Of course he figured it out. Like, Black, what the fuck?
I do. It's funny though, because I did love the bit when when he's on the phone with Todd, like, because like the way the gun played this scene is so interesting to me. Um, and as I said, it fits with my theories that I have anyway. But anyway, my Todd Black heart. Um, but he's so funny because Black is just like, when Todd is talking, the expression, I just said expression super weird. The expression, the facial expression that he has is so funny, because it's just like he has this look on his face like he's such a dick. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like he rolls his eyes, but it's pretty close. Like when Todd's saying stuff, like he's just like, he's so full of shit. Like, that's just the whole vibe he has.
Yeah, and it's
And
like
it's
he's
so,
not ready to see him. And it's very weird of him to not have Todd appear there, because like he would be outnumbered. He would come alone probably because he trusted White. But no, let's just instead go to the hotel where he will be prepared in his safe space where he's alone,
the
confronting
way he
him.
deals
Just
with, yeah, the way he deals with Todd is just really, really, like, in actual fact, the way they both act in this scene, I feel like fully supports my little delusions about their characters, because they do not act like mortal enemies. Neither of them do in this scene. Like, it's funny to me because Black is like, the way his reaction to what's happening here, besides his like he's so full of shit moments, when White is talking to Todd, he's like fully focusing on Black. Like, he's looking to him for reassurance, for um confirmation that this is this is the plan, you know, like it's not that he needs it, it's more like he's looking for this connection with his brother, right?
Maybe it's
Whereas
because he's
Black
aware that
can't.
Black knows him better than he does, and now he just discovered
Yeah,
something that he didn't know, and he doesn't trust his judgment anymore. So he's looking for guidance from
exactly.
Black, and Black is just like, tra la la, I'll meet him tomorrow.
Yeah, well, because this is the thing, like Black's reaction to this, besides like the initial thing when Tom first starts talking, where, as I said, he gets this whole vibe where he's just like, oh, he's so full of shit. Is that he looks pissed off, like, by what, like, Todd's behavior and what he's saying and stuff, but he doesn't really look like his anger towards Todd is not. It's more like when you're pissed off, it's not like I want to kill you. You know what I mean? Like, and it's interesting. The thing that I found is interesting too is, as I said, we're getting this like position from White where he's looking towards Black for, as you said, for guidance, and it's translated by him like literally, you know, like giving his full attention except for, you know, the part where he's talking on the phone to Todd, to Black. He's fully, you know, eye contact, blah blah blah. Whereas like Black can't hold the eye contact. Like, it's like he's it's interesting to me because like I don't think Black's reaction to White in this scene is him reacting to White in this scene. I feel like it's fully a reaction to like Todd and like what Todd's saying and like what the outcome of this is, because like it's just really like it's kind of shady, like the way he kind of like the way he keeps kind of looking away and like he's like, you know, like frustrated by like what Todd's saying and stuff like that. But as I said, so it's not like he's not like he's not acting like someone who just tried to kill him is like whatever. It's more like he's just pissed off, like he's just like, you know, and so that's really interesting. And then of course Todd in this scene also is really interesting to me because as as you guys know, if you've been listening to this podcast since the first episode, I pretty much knew that Todd was the bad guy. I knew he was involved in some way, purely and simply because I have my theory about seeing in an OffGun drama is always evil. And so, like, you know, I was expecting something different from this scene, I think, because this scene actually made me go, hang on a minute, because like I questioned it for a moment.
Suddenly, what if he's not evil? Suddenly you were wrong.
Yeah, because in this scene, like, he really does seem afraid and concerned for Black. And not in a way like where he's like he seems afraid of what Black might say or do, because he's basically encouraging White to like come in contact with Black. Like he's like, you know, you stay there, he might come to you, you know, like it's like he's encouraging the situation. He legitimately like wants Black to be found, kind of. Do you know what I mean? And so he must know that Black would probably either tell the truth or some version of it that implicates him in some way. And of course he does. But he doesn't seem afraid of that. Like he's not in the moment, he's more concerned with the fact that Black is missing.
Yeah,
which,
it's
you know,
like it almost feels like he organized this thing with Black, beating him, putting him into a coma to protect him from a bigger evil. And now he's like, what if the bigger evil got him?
Yeah, that's right. It's like, or it's like he... And maybe and it's like maybe it's not as simple you know, as like say the bigger evil being Tawi or whatever. Maybe in his mind the bigger evil is Black himself, because let's face it, Black is pretty reckless. And so like it's interesting because like their whole dynamic, I find, like, I'm getting so excited about this. This is the wrong part of the episode to get excited about. But anyway, their whole dynamic is this idea that they have to protect, like Todd feels like he has to protect White. Sorry, not White. Todd feels like he has to protect Black from himself because he's so reckless, and Black feels like he needs to protect Todd from himself because like he doesn't want him to become evil. And it's just like I don't want to say too much.
Makes me
like,
think
wow.
of this dynamic makes me think of All for the Game.
It is a little bit, yeah. This kind of like the recklessness and stuff, for sure.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
put him in a coma to protect him from himself.
Yeah, I know, right? Like,
Perfect.
it's slightly extreme, but to them it makes sense. Like, I feel
Uh-huh.
like if we'd ever gotten a second season of Not Me and like Todd had woken up, there wouldn't have been any retaliation or anything, because it's like, it's almost like this is their love language.
Yeah, exactly. They just got even. They're fine now.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, like, and afterwards then
No
they'll be
bad
like,
blood.
"Tra-la-la-la-la."
Uh-huh. And so
It's
then
like, you know. And Zoe's sitting here with dolls, being like, "Now kiss," like that
yeah.
meme, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. And then Black goes somewhere. He has something to do. Actually, he tries to push White out of his life, out of this whole narrative. And he says this thing. He's trying to scare White off in several ways. First, he tries to reason him. He's like, how will they react, especially Sean? Which is like, you know, basically demonstrates the fact that Black doesn't know them really. He did not have connections with these people, so he doesn't really understand them. Because even later, like, he's surprised when he finds out what Sean's reaction is, but because he wanted to prove it to himself that Sean was wrong for his brother, and he is surprised and frustrated to find that it's not true. So he says this. I'm sorry?
Yeah, I think as well for Black is like Black wouldn't have accepted it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like, you know, there's certain people that he would accept things from. Like, he would accept a lot of shit from his brother, and I feel like Todd he'd give a free pass to. But like, if someone else had come into the group, like pretending to be like one of the other members or like whatever, he wouldn't forgive them. Like, he wouldn't accept them because that's his personality, and so he's judging everybody based on his own like prejudice, you know,
and he underestimates the connections that White built with these people. And even more so because he thinks he used his personality, which would make it impossible for, you know, these people to get close to him, because there's this you know, infinite distance that he creates between himself and other people that he does not let close, right? Even with people that he kind of lets close, because everyone else that he doesn't have the brotherly connection with, I guess. So that is almost like, it's impossible for him to believe. And then when that doesn't work, he wants to scare White off with the violence. So what he does downstairs is like a show where he is like, look, this is my world. Like, you're not a part of it.
This is the situation.
Yes. Because that was uncalled for. He didn't need to do that. He only did that for White to see.
It was quite extreme, yeah. And it's interesting though, there's a couple of things as well about this that I wanted to comment on, and one was it's interesting, like what you were saying, like how this was his first attempt was to be like, they won't forgive you, blah 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 blah, do you think they would accept you, sort of thing. And like, as you said, he does not know Sean at all, particularly because Sean would pretty much accept basically anything from White, which, as we do,
he already accepted it. He's just waiting for White to, you know, display his cards.
And then the rest of the group are just like, really? No,
they don't care.
Like, they don't care. Like, nobody cares because they like him. You know, like the only thing that's their thing is that they just like are like, how did we miss it, kind of thing. And then they're more interested in the fact that like Shauna and White are clearly like a couple.
It's just fun for them after that.
Yeah, that's right. It's because they're friends. Do you know what I mean? Like, you do forgive your friends a lot. You know what I mean? Especially if there's like something you can tease them about. But and then this thing as well. What he does too is when he says what he says about Sean, is that he tips his hand a little bit because he shows, I guess, White that he knows, but also he lets the viewer know that he was watching enough to know that Sean isn't in the loop about the fact that White isn't Black. Do you know what I mean? Like, he hasn't confided in him in that. So he watched them long enough to understand that even Sean thinks he's Black. So that was interesting. But the other thing as well is, it's funny because he talks about how or before we get on to that, I just want to mention the scene just before this when they're also just after they have that conversation and they go down the stairs and they're in the stairwell, and Black is looking down to where the like the thugs are hanging out. It's such good filming and such good editing. This scene where you see both of them, I really like that scene. I thought they did such a good job of it.
Yeah, I agree.
But the line as well where White is doing his like in a monologue, and he says about how Black is taking back his life, and him not having any choice but to give it back to him because it's not his life. He took it, he absorbed it. But then his life isn't his own anymore either. So I felt sorry for White in this moment because
he feels guilty and lost. Yeah.
He does. But also in this moment, it's interesting because like he feels like he doesn't recognize this brother. You know what I mean? Which, as you said, White does it on purpose. He does this like a super, over the top violent thing to scare him, but also I think to put distance between them as well. Because Black doesn't like it's interesting when you think about it from Sean's perspective. Sean had nobody, so he was willing to self-sacrifice for the cause, right? Whereas Black had people who were who were or had some interest in him, like his mother, for whatever her deal is, did try and put her, stop him as well or whatever. We know Todd tried to stop him, and also he had Eugene as well. So he had people who care about him, but instead he distanced himself, and he doesn't want to care about anybody because that gets in the way of his idea of self-sacrificing himself. You know what I mean? Like, it's harder. He can't do that. He can't throw himself in it, devil may care, who gives a crap, if it might break his brother's heart, for example, as well. So I feel like there's that aspect to it. But it's interesting because this line that Black says, where he says, not Black, where White says about how he's like this evil doppelganger or whatever that he doesn't recognize. And it's interesting to me because if you think about it on the most basic broad strokes of the thing, Black is exactly the same as he was when they were kids. It's just, it's more hardcore now because they're adults. The situation is more serious, and then a couple of bullies who stole a wallet, you know what I mean? But essentially the last like true meeting they had together was a violent one where Black had shown him like his devotion, let's say, and protection. And he kind of is doing the same thing here, but as you said, he's using it to warn him off. But they're just extremes of the same coin. So he's essentially still the same person he was. He's just grown up, and it's become, it's gone from the child version to the adult version of that, like the real world version of that. So I kind of thought that was interesting too. But yeah, obviously it's not the happy, loving reunion that he would have been hoping for, wanting. And of course, he never would have envisioned that he'd fall for Sean the way he did. Like, and that he'd want and need Sean and the group, and just like how these things
would change him.
It was so funny because and it's so funny because when you think about like when he first starts to pretend to be Black, like all these things that like he was kind of against or whatever, well, now it's something that's like really, it's a part of him. It's really important to him about who he wants to be and what he wants to do. And so I that's really interesting to me as well, because it shows this like growth, but like it's kind of like I'm trying to think of the right way to put it, rather than be like a growth, like where you're going sort of up in scale or whatever, it's almost like he's broadening, you know what I mean? Like I don't know, I'm
His
so like not saying this. Yeah, you're so funny. But yeah, like basically, like he's it's more like he's stretching out rather than growing up, if that makes any sense. I don't really know how to put it.
Yeah,
In my
out
mind,
of the
it makes
little box
sense.
that he was put by his father, by his
Yeah,
mother,
I
by
think so.
the
Yeah, and
expectations, what
yeah,
was he was supposed to, play, the role that he
and
was supposed
others.
to play. Yes, in that
Yeah,
society that he was prepared for.
Yeah. And also I just wanted to do a side note. This is a little like tidbit that I just thought was really interesting. So not really interesting, but like, interesting enough to mention in the podcast. So totally got nothing to do with episode 10. Shocker. Zoe talks about something that's got nothing to do with what we're actually watching.
So,
So I saw someone I saw someone on YouTube, was it early this week? I'm not sure. It was either this week or last week. Um watched the very first episode of Not Me. And
mhm,
it was like it's a new video, like a new person reacting to the
mhm,
show. And it was fun to watch, and it was really funny because like they were like, wow, this show's really good, and they were talking about like how different it was. They was I think they're a reactor who watches a lot of different types of
mhm,
shows, and they've watched a couple of BLs before,
mhm.
and they were like, this is so different. And they're like, I know there's a love interest in there, and it was so funny because like he's watching, the guy was watching the scene where um White goes to the garage for the first time,
Mhm,
and he's meeting, he meets Yoke, and he's like, this is so funny because like he doesn't know any of the dynamics, like the relationship dynamics between them. So he's
mhm,
just like stumbling around the place. And I'm
mhm,
like, wow, this is so much fun watching someone watch this for the first
mhm,
time.
mhm.
And he was like, when he like while this is all happening, he's having a commentary kind of thing. He's like, I wonder which one's going to be the love interest.
Uh-huh, uh-huh,
And then it's so funny because you get the scene where White goes upstairs, and then there's the moment where he first meets Sean.
uh-huh.
And it's so funny because the guy just stopped it and he goes, "It has to be this guy, right?" He's like, "Because this
They
chemistry is like
they
nuts."
make it clear pretty fast. Yeah.
He's like, if it's not this guy, they were like robbed. They were robbed because this is insane chemistry. He's like,
Mhm.
wow. He's like, he really hates him. He's like, but does he? It's just really really funny. And so yeah, it was just so funny though because he's just like, this chemistry is so aggressive. I'm like, you have no idea.
Mhm.
So I don't know. He seems to be a reactor who watches like the first episode or something online and that. So I hope he continues to watch it because he seemed to really enjoy it. But it
Mhm.
was fun to see somebody like take it on. I mean, we're doing this now. What, like two? How many years ago was it now? Not me. 3 years yet? No, 2 years still.
I
I don't
don't
know.
know. I don't know.
Me neither, but it was like it's a couple of years down the track, right? But we were
2
fans
years.
from like when
Mhm.
it yeah, we were fans from when it aired, so
Or
it's a bit
3.
different for us. We're
Oh
like
my god.
we're revisiting, you know what I mean? But like it was cool to see someone discover it and be like, "Wow, this is really good." I'm like, "Yes, it is. Tell your friends." Um But yeah, it was just yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
Anyway, so back to the episode.
Yes, and then
The
we
scene,
see White go find his mother, and he's lying to himself
yeah.
that he's there to find out what the mother wants from Black, but actually he's just there to see his mother. He wants to know White, who she
Both
is as a
though.
person. I don't think
Yeah.
it's about
I think
Black
it's both.
at all.
Do
That
you? I
moment,
I
yeah.
do. I think this whole
But at
scene is
least
so
he
interesting.
is curious. He wants to know what happened, why they are not, that why they don't have that relationship of mother and son. But he's there
Because
to see his
the
mother.
words he I think it's the thing is the word he says, like the line he says is something like, oh god, I don't remember because I didn't write it down. But it was something like um what she wants from him or
Yeah,
something like
yeah.
that.
What she wants from Black.
Because yeah, yeah. And I do really think that he is there for that as well because Black is so adamant about not seeing her, you know what I mean? And he's clutching at straws, like so I feel like he's there for like two or three different reasons.
Mm.
One, what he actually says, yes, to see his mom and find out like who she is, really,
Mm-hmm.
but also to find out like um like why Black like essentially is oh no, sorry, I already said that. I think he's also there, like he's clutching at straws. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like,
Yeah,
because he doesn't want to let go. He doesn't want to
yeah.
let go of Sean and the group and the fight and all the rest of it.
Oh, you're
And
right.
Black is
Yeah.
like basically saying, "No, this is done." And because he tries to say to Black, like, "We can go and see Mom, like she wants to see you or whatever." And he's like, "No fucking way."
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm ad libbing here. He doesn't say that, but you know what I mean. That's
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
basically the conversation they have. And so, like, it's
Mm-hmm.
almost like I feel like yes, I feel like he's going there to see her in the way that you're you're saying, but I think he's also going there to see if she has the answer to how he can get back in. Do you know what I
Mm-hmm,
mean?
mm-hmm.
Like not even not so much back in, but like to get Black, like get on Black's side, like get so that him and Black are on the same page,
Mm.
like moving forward.
Yeah, and they
Um,
start talking, and then the moment when he says, how can you call yourself a justice keeper, it feels like he's bargaining, and it's probably something that Black stopped doing a long time ago, if he ever did that. And that is the moment that the mother knows, because you can see it on her face.
it's so funny because this is no, I'm so glad you said that, because it I I have to first take it back to the fact that I can't get the mother. I just don't understand
Mm-hmm.
how someone could do what she did with her children. But that aside, like it's just it's like, I'm trying to understand what I've written in my notes here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my notes are
But yeah,
very confusing as
I
well.
feel yeah, I feel like I had technical difficulties with my notes. I feel like, seriously, what is this? My iPad has 3% battery on it, so it's like it's touch and go. But yeah, and so like this thing where he, as you said, like he's sitting across from her, regardless of what his motivations were, like,
Mm-hmm.
like if it was like, as we said, like column A, column B, column C, like whatever, there's also this like kind of, and I never really thought about it when I was watching the episode like originally, like because I was very much kind of like in the moment,
Mm-hmm.
thinking about other
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
things as it was progressing, but I never really thought about the fact that like he's not seen her in 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
She basically abandoned him. So sitting across from someone, like he's taken on this role that he's going to play in this
Mm-hmm.
moment, which is Black.
Mm-hmm.
So he can't rage at her, he can't ask her questions,
Mm-hmm.
because he's doing this thing. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like, so it's such a, like, it would have been a painful experience anyway, without
Mm-hmm.
getting into this moment where he finds out that, like, for sure she's not the person he thought she is or would be or should be, or like, it's like he had this, let's I'm gonna say, say he had this onion, right? Because I'm gonna go off with a weird analogy here, but like he had, like, his life was an onion, right? Like he was in the center of the onion, completely um enshrouded in privilege and completely oblivious to the outside world. And then he meets the gang and everything, and like they, pieces of the onion start getting removed, and like the further you go in, the more more is being revealed of the world. Like he's starting to realize that his privilege, and like that things aren't the way they should be, and like all the rest of it.
Mm-hmm.
And like this is like one more piece of the onion that's like being removed, like, this idea that maybe deep down, like maybe Black is wrong about her,
Mm-hmm.
or like about whatever. And then she basically just like pulls the rest of the, the onion skin off of him, and now suddenly he can see everything, and it's like blinding in its, um uh you know how
Yeah.
wrong he was and how exposed he feels in this moment.
Yes,
um
and the way she talks makes it clear, because she says, I visited you in the hospital, and then
mm,
she says something else. Oh, she says, I know you're behind the protest, which basically means that she knew Black was in the hospital. She knew, she's talking to White in that moment. She knows White
yeah,
is behind the.
but
She knows White was involved, and then she never tried to approach him, and like she kept her distance. But when she says, if you stop now, it's, it will stop, which makes me think that maybe she did try to do something for him, like try to get them to, try to, for example, talk to with someone like Tavi, related to leave his son, like as a how do you say it, like as a, when someone does for you, to like as a favor, to forgive him, because of course they wouldn't stop. Like, they would just spare him if he stops. So maybe that's why she wanted to meet with Black, but it's weird that she tried to do it with Black and not with White. So like,
This whole
why?
thing's interesting. I'll get to that because you know how you said you were like, "Oh, this is the moment she realized." Blah blah blah.
Mhm.
I'll get to that in the moment because that's. And I was like, "Oh, I'm glad you brought this up." Yeah, I have a reason for that. But before we get to that, there's this bit where she says to him about how she'd been going to see him in the hospital,
Mhm.
and she says, "You know, you wouldn't know that because you were in a coma."
Mhm.
And she says to him, "But a mother can never really cut herself off from her child." And
Mhm.
it's such an interesting thing for her to say because, like, isn't that exactly what she did to White? Like, she
Exactly.
cut him out of her life.
Yes,
And it's
she
so,
never
like,
tried to do
and
anything about him. Like, she just.
that's right. I mean, we get the impression that the parents have discussed the children, but,
Mhm.
like, she's never reached out to him. She's never, like, rung him on his birthday or, like, that is the impression that we got from day one, that the father didn't contact Black and she didn't contact him. And there was really no reason for that. Like, okay, say you were going to separate the kids because you thought the kids, had an issue, but, like, to cut the other child out of your life. I mean, the other thing they could
I,
have done
you
is they
know,
could have, like, sent the kids to each other every now and then, like, at the same time, go on a vacation, go see your
mm,
dad, come see your mom. But, like, they didn't do any of that. Like, she
you know,
essentially cut him out. So
I kind of feel like she hates him. Can you
yeah,
hear me? Or that, like, she
yeah,
hates him for almost killing Black, or like she hates this connection, and she feels like she tried to transform Black into this, piece of a clog in the big machine of this society that she's a part of, and it didn't
yeah.
work, and she failed. And then White came around, and even though he was prepared, like, by a different system, by a different, by different people,
Mm,
by without her involvement, it still didn't work with him either. And instead of questioning if maybe the society is too fucked to make it work, that her children will accept it because it's bad, and they're smart people and they were prepared for something, and now they're, serving the purpose that they were prepared for, basically.
mm,
But
mm,
no, 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 she's like, no, it's the connection. The connection is
yeah.
to blame here.
And it's interesting too because it's like, how did they decide who got what child? Do you know what I mean? Like, as you said, like, maybe she had a preference for Black over White and things like that. But it's like,
Mm.
it's interesting that she chose, if this is how they chose to do it, that she chose to keep Black, because Black was clearly, even though, like, White as a child seemed to be the weaker of the twin. Like, he was the one who, like, almost drowned. He was the one that did, like, whatever, which like pulled Black into this, twin reaction or whatever. Um, it's like, it's interesting that she would choose to keep Black because she knew that Black was, like, kind of a troublemaker. Like,
Hmm.
that you get that from that scene where they're, like, with their bikes and stuff. Um, and, like, he's the stronger, like, more head fast, more, like, more headstrong rather, like, character. Like, he was gonna be the character that would fight back versus White was the malleable, kind of easier to mold kind of
Hmm.
child. And so it's interesting as well that she chose to, maybe because she's familiar with the law, she thought she could wrangle Black easier or something. I don't know. It's an interesting idea as to how or why they ended up with the twin they ended up with.
I'm thinking maybe
Um,
for me, it's more like maybe she related to him more. Maybe she saw
maybe,
herself in Black, and she doesn't
maybe,
really understand White that well. But maybe
yeah,
she had that rebellious spirit in herself, but then she just accepted
yeah,
the way things
or
the way
maybe,
they were. And then, but it's easier to accept your place in society when your place is the privileged one, your position.
yeah, and maybe it's also because he was kind of more stronger and independent, like being a single mother, I guess, having a kid that you don't have to worry about so much or something might have been. You know what I mean? Like, just easier for a woman trying to get ahead in your career or whatever if you don't have to, like, worry about your kid every 5 seconds. I don't know. Um, but it's interesting, like, this whole conversation is so, so interesting. Um, the and it's funny because I didn't realize at the time, like, I was looking at it, as I said, from a different perspective. Um, but, like, when he says to her the bit about, you didn't think it was just like street thugs who beat me up or whatever and put me in a coma. And he's implying it, like he's implying that it's more serious. And she
Mm-hmm.
says, I couldn't get involved. I had to let the police do their job. If I'd
And
got more involved, then it would have been a conflict of interest.
you
And
wouldn't
then,
like it.
like, that's right. People would say I use my position to help my son, and you wouldn't like that, would you? Which is totally Black's vibe. Like, he
Mm-hmm.
would, he's very aware of this. But the whole idea of privilege, and his point to her though is that it's not about that. Like, it's not
Mm-hmm.
about you doing something because I'm your son. It's
Mm-hmm.
about doing something
Because it's
because
right.
it's the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
And she should, if she knows that something is wrong, shouldn't she use her privilege to try and make something better? Like, she's
Mm-hmm.
complicit in letting something bad happen, like, and it's interesting too, because, like I said, when I was watching this with mom, we had all these speculations, and we had some hilarious theories about, like, the mother and stuff. And I think I mentioned
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
sometime
You did.
in the past
Mm-hmm.
podcast about how we were like, oh, she had an affair, and maybe with the Tawi was the
Mm-hmm.
twins'
Mm-hmm.
father.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we had so many crazy schemes and thoughts and theories. But, like, one of them was definitely in my mind throughout the series, was that she was corrupt, or she was part of the problem in the corruption side of things. And from this meeting and, like, rewatching and stuff like that, I don't necessarily think that she was corrupt. I just feel like it's it's very obvious that she's aware that corruption is happening, and she's, like, doing nothing. So I guess if people, you know,
Well, I feel
who are
like.
in power
Mm-hmm.
just let something bad happen, like, then they're part of the problem. They're definitely part of the problem. But it's so interesting because she says, like, from her perspective, it's a waste of time to stand up,
Mm-hmm.
essentially. It's a waste of time to fight back because, you're just going to end up in the same position, essentially. And so, but it's so funny because she's, like, she's definitely part of the problem by not doing anything, but it's interesting because she has this fatalistic way of reasoning as to why it's a waste of time to do anything. Like, she says, it
Very
doesn't matter.
similar to Block, but in the opposite direction.
Yeah. But she says you knock this person out and another one will come back in their place. And it's interesting because we do have a similar conversation between Black and another character later on, but it's slightly different. There's a different spin on it. There's a different reasoning behind it. But they're basically saying the exact same thing. And that's and I'll talk about that again later on. Hopefully I'll remember to bring it up because it's an interesting argument from the perspective that it comes up to later on. But I guess it's the situation where if you do something, and you aren't necessarily going to fix the problem, maybe you could make it worse, maybe you could make it better, maybe you could make it good for a little while, but it's probably going to get worse again. Is that a reason not to try? Is that a reason not to do something? Like, it's an interesting argument. Is it a reason just to give up on the fact of the right thing because it's not going to make a difference? Or it's like, but the thing is we don't really know how something is truly going to resolve itself. Like, people can speculate, we can make arguments, we can look at the history of the situation. There's definitely that saying about, cut the head off a snake and another one will grow back. And it's definitely quite common in crime, crime syndicates and stuff like that. That sort of thing does happen. But there's this idea, right? Like, this concept or whatever that, if you do this, it's not going to make a difference. But, like, it's not a guaranteed thing. What is a guaranteed thing is if you don't do anything, then nothing will change. Like, nothing is going to change if no one stands up and tries to make it happen. You know what I mean? Like, you could have people move to try and change things and maybe it doesn't work, but you don't know that until you try. Whereas if you never try, then nothing is ever going to change. Like, that is a guarantee. And so it's an interesting argument that she's making, because I feel like she's wrong, but other people might argue that, like, she's right, like, that's society, that's how it works, and, like, in theory, yes, but if you look back at history and stuff like that, if, like, people had given up, like, where would we be today? Like, in certain situations, like, if people hadn't fought for things, or,
Mm-hmm.
fought injustice, or fought for
Mm-hmm.
the right to do something, or whatever, like, we'd all be slaves and stuff, really, wouldn't we, at this point? Like, it's just,
I
with
feel like,
anything.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like the most interesting thing here is that what she's willing to sacrifice to remain a part of this system that she thinks there's no escape
Yeah,
from. She's willing to sacrifice their
sacrifice their
relationship,
children.
her children and her relationship, but yeah, their lives basically.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, like, their lives, yeah, because she basically says to them,
Because it's
"You need to."
one thing to like just not be helpless and not have faith and not have any hope, and but it's completely another thing um to prioritize or to put your position in that society higher than or like peace and permanence and security higher than just the lives of your children.
Yeah,
So
and to me, like, it goes against, like, the nature of motherhood, like,
mhm.
as we know it, like, from a psychology point of view, from a, like, animal kingdom point of view. Like, I mean, I know there are some animal species that eat their young and stuff like that, so I'm not talking about them. But, like, in general, like, most mothers species will sacrifice themselves for their children, or they'll fight to the death to protect their kids and things like that. And so this idea, like, this whole persona she has, is kind of very abhorrent to me, because I don't understand her, like, at all as a character.
It's
Like, I
like
get her in
it.
that
Mhm,
I feel like she's interesting, and I understand her from a theory based thing, but
mhm.
from, like, a, in your gut, inside you, like, humanity perspective, I'm like, who are you and why do you exist?
It shows
You
how
know what I mean?
twisted and fucked up this society and system is that
Yeah.
makes parents
People like
turn
that.
on their children.
Yeah.
Parents
Yeah.
abandon and turn on their children. This is like the most
Yeah.
unnatural thing, and but they're like, no, this is what is normal. This is what is like the natural thing that you have to accept. So
Yeah.
that is
And I,
fucked up.
and I'm about to go off on a weird tangent here, and I'll try and restrain myself a little bit, but I felt like it was kind of relevant. Like, it's an interesting thing. She says a line where she says, "Things happen for a
Exactly.
reason."
I was about to bring this up. Yes.
Yeah. And I'm gonna go off on a weird tangent on it, but I'll bring it back so you can comment on what you have to say. But, like, to me, that sentence is funny, right? It's one of those sentences or sentiments that people say a lot, and a lot of people hate it. Like, I've definitely used it myself in the past in situations. Sometimes it's true, sometimes it's just an empty platitude that people say to try and make ourselves feel better, or
Mm-hmm.
make others feel better. But I was thinking about the fact that, and I feel like you and I have talked about it, off the podcast, like,
Mm-hmm.
just in conversation. And I had a conversation with some people at work the other day about how COVID has changed us as a population, as a species.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we, I know you're like, where's she going with this?
I am curious where you're going with
uh,
this. Please go on.
it's yeah, and I know it's not just, like, me and myself and my family, my friends, my work colleagues and stuff like that who are behaving this way. I know it's transcended, like, nations and races and everything, languages, whatever and stuff, because, I feel like you and I have talked about it in the past,
Mm-hmm.
and I've talked about it with other friends I have, and, I'm talking about friends from, like, the Philippines, America, Canada, the UK, Korea,
Mm-hmm.
Japanese
Mm-hmm.
friends and stuff, and we've all pretty much we all realize that we say two things these days. It's become really common that, as a people, this is a thing that we've taken on since COVID. This idea is that we say the phrase, "It is what it is." And you and I
Mm.
say to each other all the time. That's
Mm-hmm.
one of them.
Mm-hmm.
The other one that we say all the time is, "We'll have to wait and see."
But
And
I feel
it's
like it's like the opposite thing. It's like a nihilistic thing because things happen oh, I'll let you finish your idea because, okay, I'm so excited because I saw it coming. I was like, she's going to bring up it is what it is. Okay, let's shut up.
Yeah,
Go
I
on.
mean, 'cause it's a similar concept
Mm.
as like things happen for a reason,
Mhm,
right?
mhm,
But I feel like the reason we're using it, and it'd be interesting to see like if our listeners are agreeing with what I'm saying now, or they're like, I've never said that.
mhm,
And I'm sorry, I did a weird voice there. I'm not, I'm not trying to say you guys
mhm,
speak like that, but you know what I mean. I was trying
mhm,
to not sound like me. Um, but you know, it'd be interesting to see if this is a phrase that you guys use with your friends or your family or like whatever, or other people have used it with you, because I feel like, and it's something that is being used like in my world, in my spectrum, whether it's like locally or internationally. Like it's a very interesting thing. And I actually saw someone famous, I can't think who it was. It was like a Korean actor or something, the day I was watching an interview, and that's how they translated it. And I just went, okay, that just even more interesting. And I meant to actually have a conversation with you about it, but we've
mhm.
both been so busy. um but it's one of those things, because I feel like it's this thing as a people we seem to have taken on since COVID, this idea that like we've changed in this way. Like um it's like, I don't know. And it's interesting too, because it seems to have transferred through generations, because I work with the elderly, and I've people of all ages saying it
Mm.
to me, essentially. um and this and the thought process behind it, like not just like an empty platitude of, just because like I feel like things happen for a reason is one of those things that people just throw out there sometimes, whereas I feel like we're saying it is what it is, or we'll have to wait and see. It's like this defeatist attitude
Mhm,
we have it
mhm.
we seem to have as a
Mhm.
society.
Yeah,
And it's
because
like we don't feel safe now to make assumptions based on things in the way we would have in the past. Like we're just very resigned to the fact that we have very little control over anything. And it's kind of, and it's in the news every day. There's always something been in the news. It's
yeah.
always been like that. There's always been wars, there's always been famine, there's always been some weather phenomena that like creates tragedy and wreaks havoc and things like that. But the way we're reacting as people, as a species, is really interesting to me. And so that sentence she says, like things happen for a reason, it's like one of those things, this like platitude that people use to try and explain away something bad or whatever.
Mm.
It's like, I feel like I realized the other day that it's one I actually haven't heard people use lately.
Yes.
I feel
Yes,
like
exactly. Yes.
it's been replaced with it is
What
what
it
it
is.
is,
Yes.
because there's no
I
reason.
cannot. I need to talk.
Yeah, we we don't think there's a reason anymore.
Yes,
Like
exactly.
before
It's the
we're like,
opposite thing. It's the
happen.
opposite.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. We're like, we used to be, things happen for a reason. Now we're like, there is no reason.
Yes.
It is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. This is
Mm-hmm.
just how it is. Get
Yeah,
over it. And
exactly.
we've accepted it. And it's so, like, it's one of those things. Like, I heard myself use it the other day with someone I work with, and I was like, I sounded so defeated when I said
Yeah,
it.
it's like
And I felt,
when you say it happens for a reason, it's like the image that I have in my mind, like some things building upon each other. But when you say it is what it is, it's like things falling apart. And you're like, yeah,
yeah, yeah. Because
the opposite.
usually people say things happen for a reason. As I said, it's an empty platitude usually, but
Mm-hmm.
people, their intention usually is good. Like people say it to people when,
It's a
like,
comforting
often,
thing, yeah, to
yeah,
make
yeah,
sense of
often
things,
something,
yes.
that's
But when you
right,
say
yeah,
it is
something
what it is,
bad,
it's like nothing actually makes sense, and you're living in a
yeah,
world where like there's
yeah,
no comfort.
there's no
It
reason
doesn't make
I can't
sense.
comfort you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
And it's like, it was funny because I was feeling very defeated that day
Mm-hmm.
anyway about something that was happening. But I was like, wow, this
Mm-hmm.
is who we've become as a society. And it's not just, as I said, it's not just limited to my own little sphere, at least in my experience. It is transcended.
Yes,
And
it's everywhere, of
because
course.
COVID,
Yeah.
it was such a thing that happened to all of us. And it's
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 not
so
really.
weird because,
It's not really COVID. it's, you know,
I
it's
don't
the
think
world
it
the
was.
way it is now. The
Yeah.
COVID brought it
Oh yeah,
to
COVID
the
was the
surface.
trigger. It
The
was
internet,
the
the AI, the climate change, the, you know, the way we interact now differently because
yeah,
of the online
it was
presence
the
and everything.
catalyst.
The way we
Yeah.
consume things, the way the corporations now rule everything, and you just feel small, and the gap between the richest and the poorest is like gigantic, and it just grows bigger, and the distance between people grows bigger and bigger. It's like this new wave of, like, there was
Yeah.
this postmodernism, and now I'm not sure, I heard the term meta-modernism, but I don't know if it's a thing. But yeah, this is what it is. What it is it's like
Yeah.
a tiny way to represent it. It's yeah.
Yeah. And it's
Yes,
and yeah, it's like what you said. It's kind of like, yeah, catalyst. COVID was the catalyst, not the catalyst. This is the wrong terminology.
it's
You're right. It's more like it
it's a
was the
symptom.
tipping point. I feel like, yeah, and it was one of those things where, you know, and I feel like all of those things that you mentioned, but then couple that with the isolation that we had because of COVID. That's like was like, I feel like one of the things that kind of really, you know, we had this isolation, and it was almost like we stopped as well. Like people
We
people did. People,
stopped, and we stopped trusting just
yeah, we stopped.
anything.
Yeah,
Anything,
we
like
don't
there's all
plan.
this
Yeah,
how do you call this, these people that believe in things that are just ridiculous and have these theories.
conspiracy,
Yes, it's,
conspiracy.
yes,
Yeah,
that is, I feel like this is also a big part of this new, you know, wave. In it's everywhere, of course, like the way it always
yeah.
happens. It's in art, it's in science, it's in
Mm,
just the way people live, it's in production, it's just
mm.
uh
But
yeah, and now it's
it's
in
so,
our podcast about not
yeah,
me.
now it's our podcast. Yeah, as I said, I knew it was, oh, so we totally went off the rails on this one. But yeah, but I feel like as I said, it just felt relevant to me because
Mhm.
it was that one sentence, which, as I said, is something that, as you said,
And it
we
feels
used
old.
to give a reason.
Yes, it does not feel
Yeah,
like it belongs in the world the way it is now,
it
and it's
doesn't
like
belong in
a
our
relic
society, and
of like the
yeah,
past. Yes.
yeah. And it was, as I said, it was jarring to me watching that scene and hearing that phrase, or I mean, obviously I didn't hear it was in Thai, but you know what I mean, like seeing the translation of that phrase, even because it made me realize I've not heard it
And you
in
know
such a
what?
long time.
It's funny because it's not like, if we start with it is what it is, it's a better one. It's just it feels colder, and it feels like it doesn't make you feel like you belong, like things
No,
make sense,
it feels defeated.
but
As I said,
still,
I
like,
feel
you
like
have
we've
to
given
kind
up.
of have to make this step, because otherwise you're just stuck in the past, and you're not
Mm,
aware of things, you're not moving
yeah.
along with the world. And yes, if you're just stuck there, like, you have no agency and no power to, if you cannot even see and accept things that the way they are, or like try or be aware at least of a part, because it's
Mhm,
impossible to be aware of everything, you just lose your mind. But
yeah.
just at
But
least let go of things happen for a reason,
yeah, I
I
think the
guess.
thing is, yeah, I think the thing is too with it, like I said before, like it is what it is, feels really defeatist. But I feel like that's a mindset thing too, because like, and that's something I feel like that was kind of born out of the isolation of COVID is
But listen, it
um
can be a good thing and a bad thing. Like, this
oh no, no,
term,
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
Japanese term, wabi sabi or something. It's kind of similar, isn't
yeah,
it?
yeah. Mm. But
So,
it's like, but yeah, but what I was gonna
mm,
say was, it's like this thing that I noticed happen for me anyway, personally, is I felt like I stopped,
mm,
like, in time. I froze in time. And the only thing that I feel like really changed, and this is really simplifying things because obviously stuff changed.
mm-hmm,
You and I met, we started a podcast, lots of
mm-hmm,
stuff has happened.
mm-hmm,
But I feel like, you know, if I boil things right down to the basic thing, because I had plans before
mm-hmm,
COVID happened, I had all these
mm-hmm,
plans
mm-hmm,
and none of them came to fruition. So that's really kind of, that in itself is disappointing. Like,
mm-hmm,
and I'm sure lots of people had that experience. Um, they had, you know, had ambitions, plans, like whatever. And the world was impacted in all sorts of different ways. I mean,
mm-hmm,
people lost, loved ones and
Mm-hmm,
stuff. So
mm-hmm.
like I can't even touch that. I did have a really traumatic time of it to a certain extent. My sister was sick, and there was all sorts of things happening that were unrelated to COVID at that time as well. And so it was like that on top of that, on top of, whatever else, disappointment not being able to, do things and all that sort of stuff. And I got to a point where I felt like I had stopped, and the only thing that was changing is I was getting older, which was depressing, because like as time moves past you, and you're like, I haven't achieved any of these things, but you get into this funk where you're like, as you said, this is defeatist attitude almost, where, to use that terminology in a way, but we put that stamp on it, because as you said, like, you can say, well, it is what it is. And as I said, when I said it the other day, it sounded so defeatist, because
And it's a
I
neutral,
was
yes.
accepting,
Mm-hmm.
this thing, and I had given up on trying to do anything else to try and rectify it, because it felt completely beyond my control. Um, but
But
as you said,
overall, yeah.
we can take ownership of it and use it in a positive way, for
Mm-hmm.
sure. In that, it is what it is.
About the
Like, let's
past or
just,
the stuff that you cannot
yeah,
change. Yeah,
pull
it
our
depends on
socks,
the way you
pull
use
our
it.
socks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pull our socks up, get on with it.
What a
Whatever, and
weird
use it.
podcast. This is so fun.
I know we've
I don't
turned
know,
into
like,
like,
our listeners,
it's
how
like a
they're
mental,
reacting to this, but I'm having a lot of fun now.
it's like mental health with Zoe
Uh,
and Morel.
philosophy
um,
and I know.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you get a little bit of everything. It's not just
Yeah.
about a BL. But then Not Me isn't your normal BL. So, but yeah, it's one of those things you can't, like, get on with it kind of perspective as well. Like, don't, as you said, live in the past. Let's just like move on. That it kind of has that positive connotation as well. But it's hard to get out of the negative mindset. And I feel like I find myself using it more in a negative way. So it was interesting, as you said, that idea between the parallel of things happen for a reason, people use it to try and make something seem better than.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time I find myself using it happens. It is what it is, because I just feel completely powerless in that moment. And
It's like being
or I'm just
aware,
really,
yeah, of what things
yeah, or I'm just
are in
really,
reality.
I'm really tired. Yeah,
Yeah.
I have no energy to try and come up with a reason why
Mm-hmm.
this has happened. Do you know what I mean?
Because there's no
So
reason. Yeah.
that's right, because there's no reason. Yeah. And then we have, as I said, on the flip side of that,
Mm-hmm.
we just have to wait and see, or we'll wait and see, or like whatever, because nothing is certain. Like, we're all very much aware, as you said, because of all these things keep happening, and a lot of these stuff already happened before. Like, it's like this whole like class system, and as I said, bad stuff happening in the world, wars, you know famine, people dying, bad weather, all these things have always happened.
Mm-hmm.
It's just we're like
Okay.
more aware of it.
Yeah, but at the same time, a lot of the things that we're experiencing now haven't happened
Oh
before,
yeah,
and
this
they're
new.
very
Maybe it's
new
just
and
there's
very
so much extra.
unpredictable, very unpredictable.
Yeah,
So,
maybe
and
there's
things
more
are
extra
changing
stuff.
very fast. So, let's just see. It's kind of like an acknowledgement that even if you try really hard, things probably aren't going to go the way you expect them to. But, you just have
Yeah,
to go with it and
yeah,
move along, with the flow, go with the flow, I guess. Kind of, not
yeah,
not entirely, but just
yeah.
acknowledge the fact that you
And I
cannot
think
control everything. This is
everything,
the
yeah,
vibe that it
or
gives
in my
me.
case, anything at all.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, yeah.
You
No,
can
but
get
it's
books,
like,
you can control that, and sometimes that is enough.
yeah. What can't be controlled? Stopping Zoe from buying more books. Like, literally, I said to my mom, guys, I keep buying way too many books. That's where this conversation's coming from. And I'm very
You
much
need to
enjoying
change some
whenever
things up. You need to buy me books now, like
Yeah,
some
well, I
things.
was just gonna say, it gives me such joy when I feel like I'm influencing you to also buy books.
Ego.
Guys, buy a book; it's fun. But like I just said to my mom, her glasses always need adjusting; they're always bothering her and stuff. And where I take her to do that, it's right next to this department store. That for the last couple of weeks has had like a clearance table with some really good books on it. And I said to my mom, "Do you need me to take you to get your glasses adjusted?" And she said to me, "You just want to check the clearance table for more books." And I'm like, maybe.
You know what I'm
But
thinking?
yeah.
I'm thinking maybe we should just go on with the episode for now, because I feel like this could go on forever, this kind of discussion,
Oh
because
yeah,
it's
I'm pretty
something.
much finished. I'm
Yeah,
pretty much done. Like I feel like I just, as I said, I wanted to kind of just bring into that because I just thought it was really interesting.
yeah, no,
Um,
it's
what I
amazing,
wanted,
and I feel like we kind of like, I was losing my mind because I was going along with you, like in my mind I was like, I knew where you were going and I wanted to say things, and I was like, ah, God.
she's like, she's beating me to it. I'm sorry.
It's
um,
okay.
the
You're more eloquent than me anyway, so you
I do
explained it
not think that
so
that's the
much
case.
better.
I do not think that's the case. Perhaps we should do a poll, guys. I'm pretty sure it's her, right? The person who
No.
gets what she's talking about halfway through would not win the eloquence poll. Um,
What do you
yeah.
mean?
I mean, because I forget like who I am sometimes halfway through like my weird rants that I go on. So I'm pretty sure I'm not going to win the eloquence poll. I think it would be you.
Well, at least
I,
you can forget it. I never know it.
uh,
Haha. See what
I'm
I did
like,
here.
I'm what do you call it? Making faces. You can't see them, but I'm making faces at you. Um,
Send me a picture. We can post it.
no, no one wants to see that. I'm like my hair's like half in, half out. Like it's like, yeah, I look like someone pulled me through a bush. Um, and not for a fun reason. Yeah. The other thing that I wanted to say, we were talking about, you mentioned the bit where you were like, oh, this is the bit where she knew it was white. It's funny because I remember watching the scene where she, where she says the bit about what does she say? She says
I'm not
something
sure.
like, "So
I
this
did
will
a
be the last time we meet." She says something like, "This will be the last time we meet." And then she says something like, "So everything I've just said, pass on to Black." And it was funny because the same thing, like I was like, before she said that, the bit, because he reacts so emotionally.
Mhm.
And in that moment, I was like, "Oh, this is the moment that she knew it was white because Black wouldn't react in such a way." And it was funny. So I wasn't really surprised when she said that line to him. Like I was like, "Ooh," but I wasn't like, I wasn't shocked by it or anything.
Mhm.
And then it was just like, but I remember I was thinking like, you know, initially that's the moment that I thought that she realized it was white. But then I was sort of thinking like, did he just give himself away from the very beginning even? Because you know how you were talking about like the bit where she starts talking about how she knows that he's behind
Yeah, but
the
she
and all that.
does that. I think she does that later, because
Oh, does she say
there's
that
this
after she?
there's this moment where you like the camera focuses on her face, and her face freezes for a few moments, and then you can see her expression
Change.
shift. Yes,
Mm.
and I think that's our clue to the fact that she just realized that is not Black, that is white.
Mm. Well, it's one. It's interesting because as I said, I was sort of thinking about it, and I'm like, I wondered if like later on, because initially that was my thought process as well. I had the same sort of I saw that moment that you're talking about, and then as I said, he reacts in a way that Black wouldn't, by getting emotional, essentially, and it's not against. Not, and when I say emotional, I don't mean like
No, I know.
when
She
he's
like she gets closer
yeah.
and she tries to reason with him. She behaves differently
Oh
than,
yeah,
like, it's not just the
no,
stern parent anymore. It's like the parent who tries
no,
to connect, because that's the way you connect with White and talk to him.
yeah,
But it
but
just the fact that she never reached out to White makes me think that she either decided that she has no right, but it's just weird. So I feel like she she thought it wasn't her responsibility, or she didn't care. So she
Yeah.
only tried to reason with Black, and she because like he woke up from the coma, so she now, even though White is around doing stuff and that she is aware of, she only contacts Black when he wakes up. So she didn't really want to talk to White, and she does it just because he's there in front of her and like, okay, I'm your parent or whatever, so I'm going to do this.
I think, like, what I meant by, I get what you're saying there, but what I meant by when I was saying about him getting emotional, I didn't mean like when he, because he actually does get emotional, but I meant
You
the
meant
bit
her,
where,
him. I
like, he
thought you
has
meant
a,
I thought you
yeah,
meant her. Yeah.
yeah. Oh no, I meant him, but like, I felt like that gave him away because Black wouldn't be like that. But it's like, I didn't mean emotional when he's like, you can tell that he knows that she knows, sort of thing, even before she actually really says something. But like the
Actually,
bit,
for me,
because
I'm sorry, but for me it's more like she realizes not when he gets emotional, but because he tries to have a conversation with her.
that's what I'm trying to say. Well, I use the word emotional, but I meant the bit where he's like passionate and tries to reason with her is the telling point, I feel like, because but what that also made me think about though was, as I said, initially that was what I thought, but then when I was watching it today, it made me think about whether or not she knew from the beginning, like, I'm not saying like she knew, but like whether it was in her mind from the beginning, because whether she was aware of it or not, because let's face it, Black would not have shown up at all, regardless of, like, because he wouldn't have gone there to, he refused, so it's not in his personality to go there and try and convince her or whatever, because he's clearly done that, tried to do that in the past or whatever, and now she's like, she cut him out, well, he cut her out too, you know what I mean? Like, so the fact that he turned up in the first place would have been like a flag, like a red flag. Then, as they get into the conversation and everything, I just did wonder if, like, it was more like she slowly came to realization, and it was just that one thing that was like she was sure. But anyway, it was just a different, like, as I said, different thought process from when I initially watched it. I was like, oh, she knows. Do you know what I mean? Like, because as I said, I saw the change that you're talking about.
Yeah.
But then I was thinking about it, and I was just like, how did she not realize from the beginning? Because Black would never have shown up. He just wouldn't have given her the opportunity. Because he knows it's a waste of time. Like, he knows things that White doesn't know, which is why White showed up. But now that White has shown up, he wouldn't show up again, for example.
And then he leaves. And so then we switch to Black and Eugene. I mean, Graham and Eugene, and
I have no notes for this section because my iPad died.
Graham is
and
there
also because, like, I don't care really.
Graham is there to apologize, and I'm like, well, at least. And he jokes with her, like she asks him to play along and draw on her to point out some of her flaws. Yeah. And he jokes around with her, and it makes her smile. And what I was thinking was like, because he says, oh, you're like, you're prettier or when you smile, or like, I like it better when you smile. And I was like, well, at least he didn't just ask her to smile. He made it happen. So yeah, that's basically it. I didn't have anything else to say here. I felt like that was pretty, like, it, what happened was natural, and of course she'd say no right now, but of course he would try to, like, oh, can I be your boyfriend? But at least he wasn't that pushy, so
yeah.
yeah, Graham.
So at least he wasn't a complete stalker. It's so funny because, like, I don't really, I'm like you, I don't really have much to say about this scene. Mainly because I wasn't invested in this relationship at all. I didn't really have any, like, I jokingly said before I didn't care, but, like, it's not that I didn't get invested in their storyline very much. And I'm still not, because even at this point where he's not super, like, pushy or, like, creepy or, like, whatever, he does what she asks, essentially. Like, she asks him to leave her alone, so he does. But like, so this scene, so in that respect, I have the same kind of feeling about it that you do. Like, I don't have an issue with it so much, but I don't really. It's whatever to me.
Yeah, it's just
But what I
unpleasant.
do,
It was obviously unpleasant for her and uncomfortable for that to happen. And
yeah,
it was just like that like to me, because I empathize more with her than I do with him in this moment. So
oh,
that's
of
why
course,
I see this situation from her point of view.
mm-mm.
And it's
Yeah,
just
and
weird and
yeah,
uncomfortable, and please stop. Please make it stop.
yeah. Yeah, that was kind of my reaction to it too.
Yeah.
But it was funny because I remember when it aired, and I just remember people were like so like pissed off and like whatever, because
Why?
of course everyone was still clinging to the Grand Black thing,
Oh. I see.
and I was just like, yeah, that's clearly not something that's gonna happen. But yeah, I mean, I think the thing is this scene to me felt a little bit disconnected too, because obviously
Mm-hmm.
in the last episode, which we watched like 100 years ago, I vaguely remember
Mm-hmm.
that there's a scene in the end, towards the end of that, where like we see the dance and that, and he's hanging around like a stalker watching her.
Mm-hmm.
So like that happened. So if I feel like if this scene had happened closer to that scene, like in the same episode, like it would have felt, I don't know, a little bit different to me. Actually, probably would have felt like more pushy, I guess, because he like it felt to me it was uncomfortable that he was there watching her the way he was. Because didn't she already say to him something about? Oh no, she was mad. That's right. They had that fight, didn't they? Because he inserted himself in her relationship with Black.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah. He was there to
yeah,
apologize for that. Yeah.
yeah, and so maybe that's why Pinucci put it in this episode instead of putting it at the end of like last episode or whatever, because I feel like it would have come across more like creepy
Mm.
if those two scenes had been together. Because I don't know, I didn't like the way he was watching her, but that's just my
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
personal
Uh-huh.
opinion on
Uh-huh.
that.
Now that I'm thinking
Um,
about it, it is creepy if you just leave it like that without him
yeah, yeah,
approaching her.
yeah, and so and then so like this scene on its own
especially
though kind of felt
especially because she had that moment where she freaked out and is like
freaked
something.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just
That.
weird. And then so
Mm-hmm.
like I had that in the back of my mind when I was watching this, even though like it kind of, as I said, there's a disconnect because of the different episodes and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't necessarily feel like a continuation, because it's just like in, I think at the end of the last scene, she's there with the other girls and he's there, and I think there's someone else, and then in this it's just her alone and him, and it's so like
Mm-hmm.
it's a, obviously stuff happened in between and we didn't need to see that or whatever, but for me it was kind of a bit like, it was, I wasn't really sure what the point of this scene was, except for obviously to get him to apologize to her and I guess open the door to the idea that he likes her. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but it was just one of those scenes that was kind of a bit, I don't know. So I don't really have much to say about it other than I just.
Well, anyway, that's this was a very interesting conversation. So skipping the technical difficulties that we just have, and we're going to pretend that we didn't, because I'm going to cut it. And now I just mentioned that we did, so I have to cut this part, I guess, as well, and the part where I'm talking about cutting the part, and the talk when I'm talking about like cutting the part where I'm talking about the technical difficulty. Please stop me. Say something. Say something.
I'm like, how many minutes is this gonna go on?
Not long. I'm going to.
I kind of feel like you shouldn't cut it out, because
It doesn't take long for me to get to the point of a nervous breakdown, so you should just take it away from me. Just
you're like, I'm just gonna cut
help
out
me.
the bit where I said I'm gonna cut out the bit.
Yes.
It was super cute. That's why I was just like, I'm just wondering how long is this gonna go for. All right. So
yeah, we decided we're going to post this so you can listen to this. Let us know if you miss us. Like it will help a lot, I guess, maybe, or maybe not.
right.
I don't know.
We need inspiration.
I mean, I cannot say that we're going to record and post more, even if you say that. So
It's funny because you're like, it'll inspire us. Oh, I'm like, or give us huge amounts of pressure.
I don't know. Depends. It depends. It depends. Like,
I'm joking. I'm joking. But yeah,
if
no,
you come to us
it
like,
was
how dare you? You promised it to
yeah,
be a weekly thing. This is like
yeah.
so disappointing.
Did
Then
we ever promise that? I'm like, yeah, we probably did at some point. That sounds
maybe.
like me.
Yeah.
That sounds like something I would have done.
I'm like,
um,
Zoe, no, be Vogue.
yeah,
Never promise anything.
it's really funny though because I feel like we've had many conversations about like how we should structure the podcast, and like you're like, oh, maybe we should, and I'm pretty sure we had conversations in the beginning, and I'm pretty sure you were like, we should just do it when we feel like it. We shouldn't like be too, whatever. And I'm
No,
like, no, like every week on a Thursday.
no. Actually, it
How
was
long
more
does
like
it take?
I was telling you that I needed to be regular so that
Oh
I
no,
can do
that's right.
this,
You needed a structure. Yeah.
but when it comes to promising it to other people, I'm more
Loosey
reticent on
goosey.
that. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'll be able to deliver. Actually, I'm doing my best. But it's
You
actually
know,
not.
I'm
It's
like,
not a very good thing though, because communications matter. Communication matters a lot, and I'm trying
yeah,
to live by that
yeah.
idea and change things because I'm not very good at that.
We're
But
a work in progress.
yeah.
Ooh, perhaps we should be like. I feel like maybe we should. There should be something on our Tumblr about how we're like. Um, what is it? What is you know when you see like
We're
construction happening?
brainstorming, guys. Look at us. This is the like a work progress, and now you're
Yeah,
a part of it,
this is part of the
unwillingly, of
podcast.
course.
Yeah, you're getting dragged along with us. You know, like when you see a website or something and it's like shut down temporarily and it says like, something in progress. Like maybe that we should be doing that. Um
Uh,
we're a work in progress. Yeah, well, it's funny because I remember when we actually first started Dangerous Romance, I think it was like every like Thursday and Tuesday or something we posted. Do you remember?
oh my god,
We
that was
were like,
insane.
we were insane. What was wrong with
Where did
now
they
we're
get all
like,
that energy?
I know, right? Now we're like, here, have part 1 of 4 of episode 10 of Not Me after like 12 weeks.
Say thank you to us, please. We
Yeah.
need it.
It was so difficult to get here. But yeah, and it's, what I love as well is like, I don't know how long this podcast is going to be, but it's like probably like 20% Not Me, and then the rest just like us rambling about the world and like linguistics.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I think it was interesting. I feel like
It's us.
I feel
It's
like by
us,
now.
isn't it?
Yeah,
This is
I was
us.
gonna say. I
You
feel like by now.
you must like it, I
Our
guess,
listeners,
if
yeah,
you're listening to
if
us.
you're still here, yeah.
Yeah.
If you clicked play on this one and you're still with us,
You're
then
weird,
I feel
just
like
us.
yeah, I feel like the people who listen to us have gotten used to the like. The weird like either tangents that I go on or you go on, or like us trying to pull the other one back and like or just dissolving into like some weird like argument. Like I feel like they're just used to it. But I don't know. I feel like that's part of what makes
Most
it
likely.
interesting. It was funny. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and don't ask me what it was because I'm bad with stuff like that. But I was listening to this podcast the
you
other
had
day.
time to listen to podcasts. That's nice.
It's like one that's like 20 minutes. And this is really funny because it's 20 minutes and they post like once a month. And I was just like, wow, a lot of work went into that. I'm like, what are these people doing? No, just kidding. I don't know what goes into their podcast. It could be a lot. I don't know. I don't know how busy these people are. But it was funny because they were talking and then all of a sudden they were like, it was weird editing because they were talking and then something happened and it was like they had obviously had a fight and that bit had been cut out.
Oh.
But then one of them brought up the fight that they
Oh.
just had, and then the other and then they just kind of like went on to talk about something else. I'm like, oh, they probably cut out the best bit. We just leave our fights in.
I
they're
wonder
never really
I wonder
serious.
if it ever happens because we do sometimes cut some stuff out because we just
Yeah.
sometimes we start
So
talking
we-
about dogs and it's like weird because it has nothing
Oh.
to do with anything. So
Sometimes we just start talking about our lives in the middle of the podcast and we're like, oh, whoops, this is not interesting to anybody except for us. And even then,
sorry,
I'm
we
not
didn't
sure
mean
if
to
we're
bring
all
our
okay.
baggage into this, but it just happened.
I'm like, sometimes I'm not even sure if Morella cares about this thing I'm telling her.
You know,
I'm
I
pretty
feel
sure you guys don't.
I feel like there's a possibility that this won't be edited. We'll just
Yeah.
post it the way it is. Like,
Yeah,
it's kind of
it's just like,
unprecedented. I listened to
we're letting
it
it all
at least
hang out.
once. Yeah. So
We just like yeah, this will do. Hit publish. This might be our new style. We'll just like record it and see what happens.
like a live podcast.
Yeah, honestly. I mean, it's funny because we talked about doing that as well. Like we were throwing out the idea at some point about doing a Patreon, which is just hilarious.
so funny.
We're like, we're just trying to get the podcast out right now. But like, we were like, oh, what could we offer for a Patreon? And that was like one of the things we talked about was doing like live podcasting and interacting with you guys. But like, you know,
that would have been funny. You talking and be like, hi. Does anyone really want me here? Should I just go somewhere else?
Oh, are you talking about you?
Yeah.
Oh, I want you here.
Oh, thank you.
I thought
this is why I'm here. You must keep telling me that. I need it. I need to hear it regularly.
Yeah. Well, as I said earlier, like I it's been so hard for us to do this because we're both really busy, really tired, really stressed. Lots is happening, you know, personal life stuff. And the idea of like getting together and doing this, because we've got time differences. Oh, and now Australia's having daylight savings, which is just making my life even worse. Making the time difference even worse.
Yeah.
All these things. And so like, you know, like you think about it and it's just like, I'm really tired or Morella's really tired, and it just like it's like not that we don't want to do it, it's just like sometimes it's just hard to get it to happen. And yet when you said to me before, oh, I'm not going to go out straight away, do you want to record something, I was like really excited. I was like, oh, I miss you. And like, which is funny because we like literally send each other a bunch of messages every day. Like,
yeah,
so it's a codependent relationship happening here, but it's like I'm totally okay with that. But it's just it's a different experience, isn't it? Because we get to sit down and actually talk and have like these weird
it's been such a long
of conversations.
Guys, you don't realize that we don't really talk to each other like this. We only talk to each other like this live during our podcasts, because otherwise, like, because of the time difference, we only send each other messages, voice messages.
Yeah, usually,
so we don't really like know how to talk to each other, like you could say, as like people in real life. It's you can see it happen in real time and how it can be sometimes kind of awkward, like when you don't see someone for a really long time and then it's a bit harder to sync with that person and
chaotic.
Yeah.
chaos when we do vibe and we're both like trying to say the same thing at the same time. We're like, yeah.
It's experiment upon experiment. Yeah, but it's fun.
And because most of our messages to each other are just like complaining about work.
Yeah. Or I'm so sorry, I had no time to record today because I never stopped working and then I just fell asleep on that.
And Morella like says me messages about how she's trying to kill her plants.
Oh, I'm not trying to kill. Come on. It just happens, okay?
I don't know that you've actually killed it. She keeps telling me this, but she hasn't actually ever killed anything. As far
actually,
as I'm aware.
what's happening? I complain about plants just striving to survive, weird. And which is like weird to me because what is the reason? Are you like? Do you think things happen for a reason or something? What is wrong with you?
Next time you say a plant thing to me, I'm going to be like, it is what it is. You'll have to wait and see. Or maybe I should throw out things happen for a reason.
Anyway, thank you everyone for hanging out with us, for listening to us. I hope you had fun. I hope we didn't start, get you to spiral and have an existential crisis or anything. Or if we did, I hope we brought you back.
Yeah, same thing.
Virtual hugs, sending virtual hugs to everyone.
That's right. Yeah, I hope you took it from that
downward
spiral.
We're all in this together.
To the the chaotic joy that this ended on. Um, and yeah, I feel like gold star for anybody who made it this far.
You did great. We did great.
That's right.
Everyone is doing
Excellent.
great.
It's a team effort.
Yes. Well, goodbye. And I don't know. What did I used to say? Help me. What was the closing? I forgot.
Oh, my earring just fell out. You didn't used to say that, but that's just something that just happened to me. You used to say, oh my god, what did you used to say? I don't know. I feel like we should say something about part 2 or 4, but it's basically just going to be like, you'll get it when you get it.
Yes. Love you guys.
Because I feel like saying anything else would be a lie at this point. We'll try.
Yeah.
We'll try. Yeah.
Sending love
to-do
to
list.
everyone, and I hope
Yep.
you're warm, and I hope you are healthy, and
And safe.
goodbye. Goodbye, everyone.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye for now.